Your income has a ceiling and you built it yourself, not with your actions, with your identity. Wealth always follows identity. Have you ever wondered why the people who are really winning, when they wake up, they know they're winning? That's identity. And the people who are losing, they don't want to lose, but they lose throughout the day. Identity. 99% of people will never realize that, but you're about to. You do not have an income problem. It is an identity problem. And until you fix that, every strategy, every hustle, you're working so hard, but you're going to go right back to the same number. I promise you that. It is a thermostat. And I know that might sting, but that's a good thing because truth is going to set you free. But the reason it stings is because it's true. Because the most honest assessment of your future is how you operated yesterday. What I'm about to break down for you is the single biggest reason people plateau. And it has nothing to do with effort. Absolutely zero. Most people think wealth is about learning the right strategy, getting the right blueprint, following the steps, cash the checks. But let me ask you something. How many strategies have you already learned? How many courses have you taken? How many books have you read? How many podcasts do you binge? You probably consume more than most millionaires ever have, and yet your bank account doesn't reflect it. Now think with me on that. If it was about just gathering the right strategies, gathering more information, you'd already be financially free. There's a reason, and it is so much deeper than discipline, so much deeper than habits, and so much deeper than tactics. For 3 years, I struggled, and it wasn't because I wasn't working hard. I was grinding. I would spend 12 hours a day trying to fix the code. I was starting and stopping, and I've tried everything, but nothing changed. I had information, plenty of it, but information was never my problem, nor is it yours. By the end of this, you're going to understand exactly what's been keeping you stuck and how to break through it permanently. Income plateaus, those aren't market problems. They're not strategy problems. They're mere problems. They're identity. Your income is a direct reflection of your identity. Burn that in your mind because most people are going after the wrong cause. The cause is always within us. It's not your potential. You have plenty of potential. I was working with a college athlete last week, and I asked him this question. I said, I want you to think about it. All the players you competed against, was there a big difference in talent? And he said, no. I said, talent isn't rare, but you know what is rare? Identity. What is rare is standard. So it's not your intelligence, it's always identity. Why am I hammering this home with you? Because I want you to always go to the cause because that's what's going to break you free. The version of you that feels normal earning what you're earning right now, that's the ceiling. There's a number in your head that feels comfortable. If I asked you what income feels realistic, whatever popped up, that's your thermostat. Think about your home thermostat. It's set at 72 degrees. If it goes to 80, the system cools it down. If it drops to 60, the system heats it up. It always returns to the set point. I want you to look at your current income. You're not earning that because that's what you're capable of. You're earning that because that's where your identity is set at. Your identity works the same way as a thermostat. If your thermostat is set to $50,000 a year and you start making 80, something is going to kick in. You're going to start hesitating. You're going to delay. You're going to sabotage and you're going to overthink. And remember, overthinking is the death of our dreams. And you don't even realize you're doing it. Your results aren't telling you about the market. They're telling you about your relationship with yourself. Understanding this intellectually is not the deal. It's about operating from it. That's the difference. Most people, they don't want to change. They want to get to a better result. They want to create financial freedom, but they don't want to change their operating system. And I know this better than anyone. For 3 years, I tried everything: books, events, hustle, mentor after mentor. Every time I made progress, I slid back. I was coachable, but not really. I was only coachable to my comfort zone. Then my mentor, Bob Proctor, told me something I'll never forget. Your results will never outperform your self-image. That was the light that took off for me. I remember thinking, oh my God, this is the key. Confidence and identity are not the same thing. You can feel confidence and still have a thermostat set to struggle. When I understood that my self-image was the ceiling, everything shifted. Not because I learned something new, but I became a new person. Most people try to change what they do. You have to change who you are. We always get who we are, not what we want. When I work with elite clients, we start with 5 identity dimensions. And I want you to write these down. This is going to change the game. First off, I don't want you to just go through this video. To really get this, I want you to binge this video because it's a repetition that's going to release the resistance. It's the repetition that is going to create the new identity. Now, let's get started. Number 1, it's the decision identity. Identity will never change without different decisions. How fast does the wealthy version of you decide? Wealthy people act right away. They decide fast. That's number 1. You are not going to change your identity until you start making different decisions. Number 2, the emotional identity. How do you respond to pressure? Pressure is just the weight of the next level, but we want to normalize pressure. Now, how do you operate with pressure? Do you shrink or do you do hard better? Number 3, behavioral identity. What is the non-negotiable dailies that you're implementing from your future self, from the goal already achieved? One of the greatest habits I ever built was doing it now. That is a 7-figure identity-based behavior. And I want you, if you get anything from this video, and if you just start doing it now, I promise you, and don't believe me, test it. Because I want you to have your own visceral experience. But doing it now will change your results literally overnight. Now, number 4 is thinking identity. What do you automatically believe about money? What do you automatically believe about yourself? That first thought, when opportunity shows up, do you act on it right away or do you overthink? That's your programming. And until we change the program, nothing changes. And this is the problem for people. It's not that they're not capable, it's that they're not willing. Because they want to operate with the same program that's comfortable, but comfort is only going to keep you in insanity. It's going to keep having you get the same results over and over again. You must commit daily to change your programming. And the only way you're going to change your programming, it is on a subconscious level, is through the repetition of new ideas, deciding every decision comes from the person you're going to be, not from your comfort zone. And understand this, until the program changes, nothing changes. And it doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how badly you want it. The program is always running the show. And number 5 is environmental identity. Who you surround yourself with. I want you to ask yourself, who am I getting mentored by? Who do I hang out around? Because we become who we surround ourselves with. And what conversations are normal in my environment? Your environment is either growing you, expanding you, or it is sabotaging you. But you're reinforcing it by the environment you're in. There's no neutral with environment. You don't automatically just become wealthy. You have to decide that I'm going to start thinking, feeling, and acting like the most wealthiest version of me. You decide to operate from the wealth identity right now. It's not after you watch this video. The one thing I learned about money is no one earns a lot of money until they decide to. Are you going to decide to? All you have to do is make the decision and everything starts following. I call this the identity collapse. You collapse the gap between where you are and who you are to where you want to be and who you have to be. 3 bridges are going to close that gap. The decision bridge. This is crucial. Until we decide who we're going to be, we're going to keep defaulting to who we used to be. And I want you to kill off your old self. And I want you to do it literally this year, thousands of times. I want you to start making decisions starting right now like the wealthy you today. And I want you right now, while I'm talking, I want you to make this decision that 2026 is going to be the wealthiest version of you that you've ever experienced. Number 2, we've got to create the standard bridge. Standard always wins. Standard is what you stop tolerating on your worst days. No more tolerating. Stop tolerating what the wealthy version of you wouldn't accept. And then the exposure bridge. Get in proximity to wealth. Normalize it. Study wealthy people. Watch how they talk. Watch how they walk. Watch how they interact in conversations. But even that won't stick without what's next. Affirmations alone don't work. We've got to become the affirmations. Like William James from Harvard said, you have to think and act like the version of you who already has what you want. So you could affirm all day long and not act, then it's out of congruency with the future identity that you have to create. So understand this, identity installs through 3 channels firing together. Channel 1 is your thinking. It's the repetition of thinking over and over and over about what you want. That's how you're rewriting the story. That's when you start asking yourself better questions. What are some better questions? What would my future self decide? What if I told you right now, you're saying yes to a lot of things you should be saying no to, and you're saying no to a lot of things you should be saying yes to? I want you to let that sink in. Now, understand this, and I want you to come from this idea. You can absolutely create your own economy. If one person can do it, everyone could do it. But I want you to sink that into your consciousness and let the idea percolate. If I was creating my own economy, how would I be living? I want you to live only the way you want to live. I want you to let go of scarcity. We can't create a wealth identity coming from scarcity. Now, channel 2, it's emotional repetition. It's the repetition of what you want over and over and over and over again that's going to override your old paradigm. You have to feel wealthy before evidence. The outside world is always in delay. So you've got to understand persistence is the key. Practice certainty before proof. You've got to already see in your mind that you're in possession of the good you desire. Learning isn't intellectual, it's emotional. And you've got to understand learning is where you align all 3 parts of you, consciously, subconsciously, and you step out and act, and you're going to see the change in results will tell you that you've learned. Now, channel 3 is behavioral repetition. You execute daily. You think wealthy thoughts. You feel wealthy feelings, and you step out and act before you're ready. When all 3 fire together consistently, identity shifts permanently. And you're going to know when your identity is shifting because you're going to think differently. You're going to start making different decisions automatically. You're going to be obsessed with studying you. And when you do that, it will be harder for you to go back to the old you than to operate out of your comfort zone. But remind yourself, evidence doesn't create identity, but it makes it bulletproof. Document every win. Every win you start focusing on creates more wins. Every faster decision, every stretch moment, I want you to write it down. Why? Because it's reminding you of what you already did. And now you have evidence, and evidence is going to be your greatest leverage. Now, your old identity is going to fight back, and it's going to fight back hard. But your old identity is so smart. It is not a dummy. It will do it subtly. It will try to get you to protect yourself because we have 2 voices. We have our villain voice. That's the voice that says, come on, why do you want to stretch yourself? Why do you want to be more successful? You should be grateful for what you have. Then you have your hero voice. Your hero voice is your soul. It's always for expansion and growth. But understand this, if you're not in control of your thinking, if you're not making decisions intentionally, your old identity is going to win. When it fights you back, because it will, your documented proof is going to become your armor and your weapon. This is strategic reinforcement. Over time, the identity becomes who you are, not something you're trying to do. And here's what nobody wants to admit. Wealth threatens your current identity. It demands higher standards, harder decisions. That means decisions out of your comfort zone. And it demands letting your old roles and your old self die. Now understand this, the old self is going to fight, but you're bigger than your old self. You have a bigger future. You are going to create your own economy. You are going to bust through plateaus, and you're going to create so much freedom from your family. Now, if you don't believe that, you need to believe in my belief. You need to borrow my belief. I don't care what happened in your history. I don't care what you haven't done over the last 10 years or what you have done. The only thing that matters is what we're doing going forward. See, most people do not have a knowledge problem. They have a decision problem. They never decide who they're going to be. They know what to do, but they're not doing it. Remember, knowing is your comfort zone. Doing is a visceral experience. That means I'm going and I am behaving before I'm ready. Because doing it requires becoming someone unfamiliar. That's the cost. Are you willing to pay the cost? But you know what the price is? Discomfort. But you know what the reward is? The best experiences of your life. And when somebody pays the price, income changes permanently. Now, let me ask you something. What income number truly feels normal to you right now? Not what you want, but what you do automatically. That's your current self. That is your present results. That's what feels safe. That number is your current thermostat. Drop it in the comments. Don't be afraid, because once we drop it in, now we're aware, and awareness is step one, but without honesty, we can't change. And if you're still here, all these minutes into this video, you're not average. You're ready. You're ready for some big change. Everything I gave you today is the framework. But ideas don't pay the bill. It's implementation. But I built something for you, the Millionaire Playbook, and you want to download it. And you want to make this your accountability partner. It's going to change the game. It turns everything we covered into a step-by-step execution system. Now, the 5 dimensions, the 3 bridges, the installation protocol. The link is in the description. Grab it while this is fresh in your mind. You always want to act on ideas when it is hot. Do not let the old identity win today. And then tomorrow, you do not let the old identity win. It's one day at a time. Today, somebody decided to change their life. Is that you? I want that to be you. I want you right now, inside of you, say that's me. I remember when I was struggling, I was sitting at a seminar with my mentor before he became my mentor, and he said, everyone in this room is going to look back and they're going to say, this was a great 2.5 days. He says, I want you to be one of the top 3% that decided. And I didn't make this bold declaration. Inside of me, I was super fired up. And I hope you're fired up by watching this. But there was something inside of me that was like, that's me. And not only did I become the top 3%, I became the top 1%. Now, if you watched me back then and you knew my history, I wasn't set up to win. But when I decided that that was going to be me, that I was going to create my own economy, that I was going to turn my annual income into my monthly income, if I can do it, you can do it. You're not just someone who watches a video. You're someone who decided to operate at a completely different standard. And that decision right there is the identity shift already in motion. In my next video, I'm going to give you the exact 90-day execution plan to lock this in permanently. I'll see you there.